I would like to formally welcome you all to Chippenham Town Council's Neighbourhood Plan Monitoring Subcommittee meeting. Please may I remind everyone this is a public meeting that's being streamed to YouTube and will be available there in the public domain for a period of 6 months. Can I remind all councillors to use their microphones when speaking and to raise their hand clearly and keep it raised when voting. Please ensure you're respectful of others in attendance at this meeting. Public question time. We've received 0 written public questions in advance of the meeting. Please can officers confirm if there are any members of the public present who have indicated they wish to speak?
There is one, Chair.
In that case, I will invite members of the public to speak by name. Please note that after 3 minutes, the lectern microphone will be muted. And I invite Brian Burbage to ask their public question. Brian.
Hello, everybody. My name's Brian. I've been a resident in Chippenham for some 28 years. I'm a local Wiltshire person, so I know fair lot about this area. I'm a bit sort of worried about what's going on regards of our area at the moment. I feel that we have so much housing at the moment that we are really decimating our countryside. I know that people have to live somewhere, but I think our expansion is too much. We're gradually going out into greenfield areas where there is an abundance of wildlife and different things going on in fauna and trees. And I feel that we're not really looking at this. I know everybody's saying on their plans that, yes, we're going to look at that, but I don't think we are. We've got too many houses around here at the moment, too many. And where are these people going to come from? Where can they afford these houses? I think it's going the wrong way sometimes. I know that we have to move on and we've got to do planning. And I know that the regulations say we have to have so many houses, but really we have to stop somewhere. And it's worrying me, and I'm an older person. And I know the younger generation have got to come forward, and we say, are there the jobs around here for all these houses? I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen any new expansion of even factories. I worked in a factory most of my life, and I can't see any of that because it's all closed down. So I'm really concerned about how this is going to progress. And I feel that we should really look into what we're doing. And I know you are, but I don't think it's good enough. I think we're really decimating our countryside. I've been in Wiltshire all my life, and I know it's happening all around. And I think the way we're going on, we're going to be another Swindon, and we're gradually build onto Laycock. Look at all the houses that are coming along that bit. That was open fields. I drove to work one morning a few years ago, rode down under the railway bridge. I had in front of me, this is early in the morning, 6 o'clock, 6 wild deers just running down the road. Beautiful sight. Where are they now? They're being killed by traffic. Our hedgehogs, which we support, there aren't any in our area at the moment. We haven't got any. 3 years ago we did, but it's all this industrial area that people, they just come in, they build these houses, and I don't think they really take into account what they build and they go. They're not really worried about what happens to us, and we have to live here. So I'm really, really disappointed in how this area is being decimated. That's my point anyway. So I'm really, really, really concerned about our fauna, our trees, and our wildlife, because that's what we need. We don't need concrete all the time around us. So I hope that you will take that into consideration. I don't know what my wife would like to just say.
I think, we are discussing the neighbourhood plan, and I don't think we're considering everything that was stated in the neighbourhood plan. Unfortunately, we were involved when the referendum was taking place. We were involved in a court case where we were the victims, so we didn't actually.
10 seconds if you'd like to sum up.
Yeah. Chippenham will capitalise on its rich history, good transport and beautiful surrounding countryside to maintain itself as an attractive and vibrant riverside market town.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for that. Moving on to the agenda, the election of chair. To elect a chair for the Neighbourhood Plan Monitoring Subcommittee for the municipal year 26-27. Could I please ask for nominations for chair?
Councillor Nick Murray.
Okay, do I have a seconder? Okay, Councillor McIntosh. Do I have any other nominations? No. Can I have, in that case, can I have a vote? So all those in favour? That's carried unanimously. I will now cede the chair to Councillor Murray.
Thank you very much for re-electing me as chair. I do appreciate it. The next item on the agenda is the election of the vice chair. So I'd like to make a nomination for Councillor Scragg. So first of all, do I have a seconder for that nomination? Councillor McIntosh. And secondly, are there any other nominations? In that case, could we show our vote in favour of Councillor Scragg? Thank you very much. You're therefore elected as vice chair. Thank you, John, for another year. Item 3 is apologies for absence. Can I ask officers if we have received any apologies?
Thank you, Chair. We have received apologies from Councillor Michael Owen due to being on holiday and Councillor Claire Cape due to a prior commitment.
Thank you very much. Item 4 is notifications of substitution.
Yes, Chair, we have Councillor Fiona McIntosh substituting for Councillor Claire Cape.
Thank you. Item 5, declarations of interest. All members of the Town Council are reminded to declare any pecuniary or non-pecuniary interest they may have in any business of the Council, its subcommittees, its committees or subcommittees in accordance with the latest approved code of conduct. Councillors are reminded to declare any dispensation granted in relation to any relevant matter. Are there any declarations of interest for this meeting? No. Thank you. Item 6, minutes. To receive the draft minutes of the Neighbourhood Plan Monitoring Subcommittee held on the 18th of December 2025, a copy of which was attached to your agenda packs. Are there any comments in relation to the accuracy of the minutes, first of all? Okay, in that case, could I have a proposal that you accept the minutes? Councillor Scragg and a seconder. I'll second it. That's fine. So I'm therefore moved to the vote. Can we have all those councillors in favour of accepting the minutes as a correct record? And that's unanimous. Thank you very much. Item 7, chair's announcements. I don't have any announcements unless there's anything late that you want me to say, Andy. No. So item 8, Neighbourhood Plan Monitoring Report. So this is to receive and consider a report from the Head of Planning reviewing the effectiveness of the Neighbourhood Plan over the last 6 months period, December 2025 to May 2026, a copy of which was attached to your agenda packs. I'll now hand over to Andy to go through the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. So I'll just summarise the report. The monitoring report has been carried out in accordance with the Neighbourhood Plan Monitoring Plan and covers the period 1st of December 2025 to the 31st of May 2026, and that's attached to Appendix A of the report. The headline conclusions of the monitoring report are: 1, in the majority of cases, the local planning authority are selecting the most relevant neighbourhood plan policies to use in the assessment of planning applications. This was 83%. In the majority of cases, they are then determining planning applications in accordance with those policies, and that was on 72% of occasions. Secondly, compared to the previous monitoring period, there has been an increase of 11% in the number of occasions where neighbourhood plan policies are being correctly referred to. Thirdly, compared to the previous monitoring period, there has been a decrease of 16% in the number of occasions where planning applications have been determined in accordance with a relevant neighbourhood plan policy. In the majority of cases, this can be explained by a difference of opinion in interpretation of a policy between the Town Council and the local planning authority. However, since monitoring began, there is a general upward trend in the number of occasions where planning applications have been determined in accordance with a relevant policy. Fourthly, policy GI1, which is biodiversity, was the most frequently used policy during the monitoring period, closely followed by policies TC4, which is development in Chippenham Conservation Area, and GI5, which is trees, woodland and hedgerows. These policies are being used most frequently, principally because they can be applied to both minor and major planning applications. 6 policies have yet to be used since monitoring began. Fifthly, no neighbourhood plan policies were used in the refusal of planning applications or dismissal of appeals during the current monitoring period. And then finally, working in collaboration with Wiltshire Council, the following projects have been delivered which meet the specific infrastructure requirements of the neighbourhood plan, which are tree planting on green amenity areas, bus shelter improvements including Bath Road bus shelter, introduction of real-time passenger information at strategic bus shelters and bus stops, and new waymarking signage on the footpath network. This monitoring report is the second of 2 monitoring reports prepared during 25-26, and which will provide a full year's worth of data on the neighbourhood plan to feed into an annual report to be presented to full council in September 2026. So turning to the recommendation, it is that the Neighbourhood Plan Monitoring Subcommittee approve the Neighbourhood Plan Monitoring Report attached to Appendix A, and that this report is subsequently presented to the Planning, Environment and Transport Committee to note. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Andy, and thank you for your work on that. Any questions from the subcommittee? Councillor Scragg, first of all, and yeah.
Got one observation. It's bound to be about buses, but policy T2 says, I hope I'm responding to the right part of the agenda, but policy T2 says improvements to the local bus network linking new development to the town centre. And I think we should mention that a new bus 44H has been introduced to link Hilltop Estate above Macklin Park, and also serving South Kepman Park, which wasn't served at all, or hardly at all before. So that was introduced, I think, at the beginning of May or the end of April, and then last week, actually, on the 15th of this month, it was extended to serve Siemens' new factory, and to some extent the development Lackham Place, which is not, it's some way from the bus stop, but Wiltshire Council are still intending to introduce a bus route that goes through Rowden Park and serves those estates off Atterdown more closely than the current bus does. Just, I think it's worth mentioning.
You want to respond to that, Andy?
Yeah, that's fine. I think we can put it into the monitoring report where we've talked about the individual policies, and then I can slot something in there to reference that. Yeah.
Thank you, John, for that. Councillor McIntosh.
Hi, this might be a naive question, but is there any way that we can actually marry up the interpretation of a policy between the Town Council and the LPA so we don't have that 16% decrease, or is that just life? We're always going to have that, you know, the difference of the interpretation of a policy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question, but I think there will always be that different interpretation, even amongst case officers. So I think it would be quite hard to have a set of rules as to how to interpret a policy. Obviously, we keep an eye on it and we monitor it and we check. And in most instances, you know, the interpretation does agree with our own. It's just some examples where it doesn't. And it's just keeping an eye on those to make sure if it's a consistent policy that's being interpreted differently, then we can hopefully pick that up from the monitoring and talk to Wiltshire Council about it. But
yeah, and is that a change of wording? Then it's actually how you word a policy that therefore that changes the the lack of interpretation differences.
Yeah, I mean, it can be just a simple word change, or it could be the fact that a policy is quite long and has several different elements to it. And, you know, a development might comply with one element of that policy, but not another element. And then does it accord overall with that policy or not is the kind of question that might be interpreted differently by different people.
Could I ask on that score, Andy? I mean, most of our policies are kind of supplementary. There's nothing really where there's a bit of a contradiction and you're finding that the LPA is coming down on one side or the other. I mean, we're pretty much complementary rather than contradictory in any way. Is that right?
Do you mean in terms of the complementary to the local plan?
Yeah, correct. So officers, the LPA is not sort of interpreting things its way as opposed to our way, because really we ours are quite clearly additional requirements, aren't they? So yeah,
That's right. Yeah.
Any other questions? Got another one if not. We recently experienced that some developers who've had things in the pipeline for a while are still kind of discovering that we've got a neighbourhood plan. Do we do anything proactively apart from then commenting when they perhaps haven't quite, responded properly at the point of consultation? Are we doing anything before that when we know that these developments are coming along to make them aware?
So, I mean, I wouldn't say we're doing anything proactively. I mean, I would hope that obviously the developers are having discussions with Wiltshire Council at pre-application stage, and Wiltshire Council were directing them to neighbourhood plan and directing them to us to have that pre-application discussion. And we do tend to find with most of the big schemes, they do come and present to the planning committee or like last night, full council. So I think most of the larger developers are aware of it.
Thank you. Any other questions? Claire, do you have a question? No? Okay. I did have another one on the infrastructure. Let me just think what it was though. Yeah, to what extent are we progressing? I mean, there's no kind of gauge for how fast that list is kind of progressing relative to what we would hope or anything, is there? I mean, we're just reporting what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, that list is really kind of evidence that we've delivered on the plan rather than kind of setting kind of dates and targets about what should be achieved when. It's more a kind of record, because we can take things off it or add things on depending on what we want to do.
Thank you. Okay, if there's no further questions on that item, I'll move on to the next item then, which is item 9, the annual review of the neighbourhood plan monitoring plan. To receive and consider a report from the head of planning suggesting amendments to the neighbourhood plan monitoring plan as part of its annual review. Copies attached to your agenda pack. Councillors should consult the guidance notes provided by Wiltshire Council in relation to the naming of new streets, together with the list of suggested names submitted by the Youth Council. Copies attached. What's that? That doesn't belong there, does it? That was an error, so I'll withdraw that last paragraph. Right, over to Andy.
Thank you. Yeah, so the monitoring plan sets out what, how and when data will be collected to establish whether the neighbourhood plans, policies and infrastructure requirements are effective and being met. In accordance with the terms of reference for this subcommittee, it says that the monitoring plan should be revised and updated by this committee periodically. With the monitoring plan itself stating in paragraph 1.4, it's recommended that the monitoring plan be reviewed on an annual basis at the first meeting of the subcommittee. The monitoring plan was last updated by this committee at the meeting of the 3rd of July 2025 and is therefore due its annual review. A draft revised monitoring plan in the form of a track changes document showing suggested amendments is attached at Appendix A of this report. Minor changes are proposed, and these are usually for stylistic reasons or to improve legibility for the reader. And these include clarification on which planning applications will be reviewed. That's paragraph 1.9. Clarification on recording of is the policy correctly referred to in an officer report. That's at paragraph 1.10. The rearranging of text in section 3 to provide improved legibility. The moving of current status and delivery target start date columns to the right end of table 20 for legibility. and those are the main changes. There are no changes proposed to tables 1 to 9 of the monitoring plan. However, councillors may wish to add, modify or remove any key indicators from tables 1 to 19. Any new key indicators must be SMART objectives. They must be concise, directly related to policy wording and simple to record. So the recommendation is that the Neighbourhood Plan Monitoring Subcommittee approve a revised Neighbourhood Plan Monitoring Plan for the municipal year 2026-27 as per the draft amendments proposed at Appendix A of this report, and that the revised monitoring plan is subsequently presented to the Planning, Environment and Transport Committee to note. And again, happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. I just remember, because I was thrown by that paragraph, can I just finish first, Fiona, and we'll come back to you. That we need to vote on the previous item, which is item 8. So those recommendations that the Neighbourhood Plan Monitoring Subcommittee approve the Neighbourhood Plan Monitoring Report attached to Appendix A of the report, and that this report is presented to the Planning, Environment, Transport Committee to note. Can I have all those in favour of doing that, please? That's carried unanimously. Thank you very much. So coming on to the questions for item 9. Do I have any questions for Andy on that? So item 9 was a change to the monitoring plan. So Andy's just gone through the changes, which are mostly clarifications. Yeah. No, I mean, I think they're all very sensible. I'm personally happy with that. So if we don't have any further comments or disagreement, then I'd like to propose that we accept that. Can I have a seconder? Councillor McIntosh, all those in favour? Yeah, that's the recommendation is carried. Thank you. That takes us on to item 10, which is the reflection log. Strangely named, but there you go. To receive and consider the reflection log and to add any new entries to the log which might be useful in any future neighbourhood plan review, copy attached. Over to you again, Andy.
Yeah, I just had a couple of new issues to add to the log. So first one was in the conservation area character appraisal and or policy TC5. There's a reference still to the technical school building up on Cocklebury Lane being a building of local merit. So it's just making sure that that's either changed or reinstated as a building of local merit in whenever the neighbourhood plan is reviewed. And then the second point I had was in the Chippenham design guide. Yeah, this was just a general point about the design guide that when it is reviewed, I think it kind of needs to be restructured and rewritten to better align with the Wiltshire Design Guide and the forthcoming design and placemaking PPG. I think probably employing a design consultant as well to write the design guide would be a good idea. So those are the only 2 points that I'm suggesting to add. Thank you.
Thank you. Could you just clarify that first one? Are you saying to remove it, or it was on there already, wasn't it, the college?
So no, it was on there originally as a building of local merit. We then took it off because of the development that was going to take place, and then yeah, so we didn't obviously change the reference to it in the conservation area character appraisal still being a building of local merit. So yeah,
thank you. That's clear. Any comments on those additions to the log? No. Have I got any other proposals to add to our reflections log, in addition to the ones which are in your packs? Okay. I mean, we don't have to come up with these, but I mean, I'd just encourage you next time to have a think about what else we could add to that as we get more into it during this year. Great. Okay. We don't need to vote on that. So thanks very much, Andy, for that, which takes us on to item 11. Items of communication. To consider any items of communication from this meeting to the public. Do we have any items for communication to residents that we think we should communicate? I mean, we haven't traditionally done that, have we? There's nothing.
What we normally do is we would normally put a post on the neighbourhood plan Facebook page, just saying that obviously we've done this 6 monthly monitoring report. Here's information if you want to click this.
Yeah, no, that sounds sensible. Everybody happy with that? Good. To consider also any questions or actions arising for the meeting to refer to the Youth Council for their opinion and response. So the Youth Council obviously said last night they like to be informed despite previous responses sometimes. Again, could we perhaps communicate to them that we've done this and encourage them to provide any sort of comments that they have ahead of our next meeting? Anything else? John, Councillor Scragg?
I was going to just mention with regard to item 12 that I will be away on the 17th of September. Okay. Just yes, yeah. Just in case you're not here and I as well as myself.
All right, so moving on to item 12 then, date of the next meeting will take place on the 17th of September at 4 p.m. And that's the last item. So thank you very much again to the officers for their work, and I declare the meeting closed.